and gentlemen, now at the World Cloud Show Africa, we're on our Tech Talk, Scale Up Security for Cloud IT Management and Future IT Trends, where we're joined by our speaker, A. Karthik, Chief Evangelist, Manage Engine. An enthusiastic and a passionate presenter, having presented Manage Engine solutions at over 200 plus destinations, Karthik has over 20 years of experience in IT, and most of his time has been dedicated to promoting Manage Engine software. With this, I now present A. Karthik on your stage and screen. Thank you so much, Karthik, for joining us live at the World Cloud Show Africa. It's indeed a pleasure having you today.
Thank you, Bhavana. Indeed, it's a pleasure having me on stage here. Without further delay, let me just quickly begin the topic for today. Let me first share my screen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm hoping everybody is able to see my screen. Just a quick check.
Yes, we're able to see the screen. Karthik would just request you in the presentation mode if you could enable it.
Yeah, presentation mode, is it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that, we can just see the main slide.
Is it okay now?
Yes, perfect, Karthik. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. So the growing trends in IT add much to the woes of administrators in terms of security and management. Cloud IT and IT management has already gained momentum, and organizations look forward towards cloud IT management to reduce on imperative IT costs and maintenance. A security loophole like a configuration mismatch or missing security patch or unapproved data access or excessive privileges to users can dearly cost you much on IT and your business. So in this session, I'm going to talk about the ways to scale up security for your cloud IT management infrastructure. And these security tips are going to be applicable for future IT trends as well. You could have hosted your infrastructure in a public, private, or a hybrid cloud and would have chosen a service model for your business like infrastructure as service or platform as service or software as service or backend as service. And cloud IT management can include more of these, but is not limited to help desk and service management, assets and CMDB, which is configuration management database, desktop and mobile device management, identity and access management, security, information, event management, network application, and server monitoring. You may choose a private, public, or a hybrid cloud to host these services for your IT. However, the major concern these days is to ensure security of your internal and external data. The next few slides, I'm going to talk about the right security strategy to adopt for cloud IT management and future IT trends. So the first step in this approach is to augment endpoint security to proactively detect and defend against cyber security threats. Why is vulnerability an area of grave concern to organizations? So the major challenge of growing organizations these days is the increasing number of endpoints. With steep increase in endpoints, traditional antivirus, file scanning, and security solutions are no match to the security loopholes that these devices pose to the network. In a study conducted by Manage Engine, we found out that 37% of the respondents did not use any kind of endpoint protection solutions or were just in the process of evaluating potential security solutions. The same study had around 33% of the respondents saying that their biggest challenge with endpoint security solution lay in its complexity of deploying, managing, and using those solutions. So when it comes to vulnerability assessment and threat mitigation, you may have to first scan the endpoints regularly to detect vulnerabilities and mitigate them immediately using patches or alternate fixes. Early identification of exploitable threats that require little or no user intervention. You have to put the vulnerabilities in context to understand their priority, urgency, and priority and impact. Prioritize response such as patching or mitigating the workarounds. You may also have to avoid hefty fines for not conforming to standards conforming to cybersecurity standards and regulations. And you may also have to think about the fact that patching may interfere with the ongoing operations of business. So these are the various factors that you may have to look into while talking about or while considering vulnerability assessment and threat mitigation. When it comes to security configuration management, there are a lot of points that you have to look into or ponder over. And the first that you may have to start with the firewall audit. What are the ports that have to be allowed in my organization and applications that are allowed to run? Password policies, strong password policy, and frequent password changes. When it comes to Microsoft Office security, you have to think about the place where you have to store the documents securely and set passwords for critical files. Secure remote desktop sharing, lockout and logon security, where you have to consider multi-factor authentication for logon activity. You also have to manage user rights and privileges, where you have to escalate privilege only when needed. You don't have to provide all the administrative privileges to all users as and when they join the organization. And when it comes to preventing browser-based attacks, you may also have to look into the plugins, extensions, browser add-ons, the downloads, and the websites that users are going to access. When it comes to enterprise patch management, that's when you have to think about automating the patch management, having a single agent to distribute patches for all the applications and software, have a heterogeneous or a hybrid network for having patch management for Windows, Mac, and Linux operating systems and the various operating systems that you have within the organization. Ensuring patching is done for both Microsoft and third-party applications. You should have a flexible deployment policy, like after hours deployment, shutdown or restart policy after applying the patches and so on. And all these patches have to be applied only after proper testing and approval. When it comes to application control, you should have a whitelist and a backlist of applications that are allowed or disallowed on workstations. Administrator access has to be removed on all applications and software, and just-in-time evaluation of privileges has to be followed across the organizations, irrespective of the hierarchy that you have within the organization, and have control over child processes and applications to be doubly aware of the processes that do not invoke any virus or ransomware attacks. And finally, provide application-specific privileged access to users and workstations. When it comes to endpoint privilege management, you have to adopt a zero trust model and enforce role-based privileges irrespective of the hierarchy. And to all the whitelisted applications that you have with the organization, you can allow self-evaluation of privileges so that users do not call the help desk for installation, and they can actually do a self-installation of trusted application or software. And you also have to remove all the unnecessary local administrator accounts, which when left unnoticed can be a security loophole within the organization. When we have to talk about device and port control, you have to control the ports which are connected and the devices which are connected to these ports. And you have to block unauthorized access to your data and monitor all device and file actions effectively. File access control would include preventing data loss with strict role-based access control policies, set read-only permission, and block copying of data from devices. When it comes to file transfer control, you have to limit the file transfer by setting maximum file size or a type of file. And when we have to talk about temporary access, that's when you have to create a secure and temporary access for devices to access your computers within the organization, and effectively secure files involved in a data transfer operation by creating and storing mirror copies in password protected shares. And you also have to trace the file action in real time, record salient details such as file name, location, along with computers, devices, and users involved when it comes to device control policies. And why do you need file shadowing within an organization? First of all, file shadowing will help you to prevent loss of sensitive files by storing a copy of the file in a secured location. You can either call it as file shadowing or data mirroring. And what are the advantages or benefits of having a file shadow policy? By reviewing the share folder with copied data, the actual content of the stolen file can be identified. So this is the first step in quick and cost-effective recovery. And when a network failure caused by malware injection leads to corruption of original files, that's when you can actually retrieve the business critical data frequently accessed by remote users. And since the file details and information about endpoints, users, and devices are documented frequently, impacted users can be warned to change their passwords and encrypt their intellectual property, financial records, or personal data as such. When it comes to browser security, you have to have a lot of factors to be considered. And that's when we start with gaining complete visibility over the browsers which are present in your network, mandate the use of trusted or approved browsers within the network, simple and straightforward policy configuration to secure browsers, exercise control over installation and usage of browser extensions, plugins, and add-ons, discover computer compliance status with security configurations, automatically direct legacy web applications to legacy web browsers, and you can assign specific Java versions for specific web applications based on your requirements. You can also securely handle enterprise sites away from malware contacted through untrusted sites. Control access to the internet by providing or denying access to specific sites, restrict file downloads from unauthorized websites, and ensure secure browsing. Gain insights into your network to see which websites and web applications are allowed and which are being used. So when we have to talk about mobile security management, that's when you have to think of completely wiping off the data, either personal or corporate or both, depending on the use case or depending on your business policies, when your mobile device is stolen or lost. You also have to detect and report high risk and non-compliant devices that do not conform to organizational standards. Allow only enterprise apps to run on these mobile devices so as to ensure optimal performance of mobile devices, and you also ensure security of data within the organization. And you can separate corporate apps from personal ones and ensure such corporate apps cannot be accessed using a 4G or a 5G network to prevent data theft. And also ensure all mobile devices are compliant with your business policies, with your organizational security policies, such as Wi-Fi, VPN, password, background, and much more. When we have to talk about SIEM, you also have to think of moving your log management to the cloud. That's when you can actually cut down your log storage spending while ensuring security of log data collected from various devices. You can also audit security events and meet IT compliance requirements from the cloud vendor who offers this SIEM on the cloud. You can access and manage log data from anywhere. And by that way, you can actually scale up your network architecture without worrying about the log volume within the organization. When it comes to data analytics, you may want to look in for a software or a cloud vendor who provides augmented and predictive analysis of the data. And you may have data from all verticals like service desk, network server, application availability, performance monitoring, fault management, user management, desktop configuration, patch management, and much more. So you may want to have one single dashboard with the data from all these modules, and you want to share these data and reports to peers and stakeholders so as to transfer data to knowledge, data to information, to knowledge, to wisdom. And you would also want to have a rich visualization of your data, and you have to choose a vendor in such a way that this vendor will help you with such visualizations of enormous data, and such reports are interactive and easy to use. And finally, you may also want to receive quick alerts from when the data breaches a particular threshold. And to further enhance your security, you may also want to consider storing your passwords in a centralized vault, provide secure access to IT resources as and when needed, and revoke the access once the job is done by the administrator. Privileges can be escalated as and when it is needed. So start with a minimum privilege to all the technicians and keep monitoring the activities of privileged users. And if any deviation is identified in the usage or a pattern, that's when you can escalate it as a security breach and take necessary actions thereupon. Ensure you have ensure the password and active session management is protected for your DevOps resources as well, and maintain application and database passwords in the centralized vault and rotate them frequently as you do for other IT resources. UEBA, which is User Entity Behavior Analytics, you have to record the user and entity behavior through log collection from workstations, servers, domain controllers, network resources, and so on. Allow a grace time for the behavioral patterns to be identified and recorded, and any deviation in the pattern is associated with the risk factor that will help you to identify insider threats or account compromise or data exfiltration. And before we move on to compliance, which is going to be my final slide, I just wanted to throw some light on data security as well, which is also a major factor in cloud IT and future IT trends. So you have to discover the data and identify personally identifiable information, PII, which is stored in files, folders, or shares. You may also have to audit your file servers for who accessed it, when was it accessed, why was it accessed, and how was it accessed. And also you have to analyze the storage, which will help you to identify the redundant, outdated, and trivial data so as to declutter your file servers and cut down on your storage costs. And when it finally comes to compliance, you have to choose the right one based on your industry and business strategy, like PCI DSS for banking and banking and financial institutions, payment card industry, GDPR, the widely used General Data Protection Regulation, ISO 27001 for security standards, and much more. And finally, it's time for discussion here. In case if you have any questions, just post them on the chat window.
Thank you so much, Karthik, for that excellent presentation. We'd love the audience to connect with you and your team. Of course, I'd just like a concluding remark, Karthik, on, you've got such brilliant experience in your field. Any suggestions which you'd like to give to anyone who's looking for these services? What's the future ahead? If you could just throw some light on that, Karthik.
Sure. The future here lies in automation and artificial intelligence and machine learning. So as and when you have to look into a vendor who actually offers these kind of services, you have to find out how easy it is for you to automate your business activities. So day-to-day IT operations, how can you automate it? Say, for example, starting from creating a user to cleaning up your Active Directory accounts, or it could be even from day-to-day tasks like taking a backup of the configuration, taking a backup of your data. All this has to be taken into account. And when it comes to machine learning and machine learning and artificial intelligence, you have to find out a virtual assistant which can actually ease out your job. It should actually not complicate things by way of providing a virtual agent. In few of the banks or few of the industries I have seen, the virtual agent is actually complicating things. And the only thing that the virtual agent will tell you is, meet us in person. So this is something which you have to avoid so that you actually extend your services, services to the customers at ease.
Right. Thank you so much, Karthik. And I'm sure the attendees definitely value what you've spoken about and surely would love to connect. So thank you once again, Karthik, for that.